Welcome back to DJ Carl Play Legacy. Today we have Josh on 4-color Beanstalk and David on Temur Cascade. Josh's opening hand, we have a Force of Will, Leyline Binding, Lorien Revealed, Brainstorm, Witherbloom Command, a Polluted Delta, and a Bayou. David will be on the play. His opening hand is 2 Shardless Agent, a Mystical Dispute, Forest, and 3 Wooded Foothills. Alrighty, turn 1 for David. We have a Wooded Foothills and pass. Josh will untap and draw. Play a Polluted Delta and pass a turn. David will untap and draw, play another Wooded Foothills and pass. Josh will untap and draw. He'll play an island and pass a turn as well. David will untap and draw. And he'll start his turn off by double fetching the Wooded Foothills, getting a Tropical Island and a Volcanic Island. He'll then play a Taiga and cast a Shardless Agent with a Cascade trigger. David will exile cards from the top of his library until he hits a spell with converted mana cost less than 3, of which he will hit a Crashing Footfalls, of which he'll cast the Crashing Footfalls and create 2 4/4 green Rhino creature tokens with Trample. In response to the Crashing Footfalls, Josh is going to cast a Force of Will. Looks like he's going to be exiling a Lorien Revealed and paying 1 life. That'll go through. Countering the Crashing Footfalls, Shardless Agent will resolve. David will pass a turn. At end step, Josh is going to cast a Brainstorm. That'll resolve. Josh will then untap, and at his upkeep, he will crack the Polluted Delta. And grab a Tundra. Josh will then draw per turn. He'll play a Bayou. Looks like he's going to pass a turn from there. David will untap and draw. He'll play a Forest. He'll move to combat, attack for 2 with the Shardless Agent. Second main phase, he's going to cast another Shardless Agent with the Cascade trigger. The Cascade trigger resolves. Dave will hit another Crashing Footfalls. So David will cast Crashing Footfalls. Josh with no response. That will resolve. David will create 2 4/4 Rhino creature tokens with Trample. At end step, Josh is going to flash in an Orcish Bowmasters. That will resolve. ETB, Josh will ping David for 1 and create an Orc army token and put a counter on it. Josh will untap and draw. He'll start off by playing a Tropical Island. And then cast a Witherbloom Command. With the 2 modes, target player mills 3 cards, then you return a land from your graveyard to your hand, and target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Josh choosing to target himself with the mill. Looks like Josh is going to get back the Misty Rainforest. Looks like he'll follow it up by casting a Murktide Regent. In response, David's going to cast a Mystical Dispute on the Murktide Regent. That will resolve, countering the Murktide. Josh will then pass turn from there. David will untap and draw. David will start off by playing a Wooded Foothills. He'll move to combat. He'll swing all at Josh for 12. No blocks from Josh, he'll go down to 6. Dave will then pass a turn. Josh will untap and draw. Josh will play the Misty Rainforest and crack it. Getting an Underground Sea. Josh will then cast an Up the Beanstalk. That will resolve. ETB, he'll draw a card. Josh will then pass a turn. Josh's end step. David will cast a Fire, targeting the Bowmasters and the Orc army. In response to that, Josh will cast a Leyline Binding, which will trigger the Beanstalk. So cast trigger, he'll draw a card. Leyline Binding will resolve. Josh will target one of the Rhino tokens. Fire will resolve, killing the Orcs. Passing priority. David will untap and draw. He'll go to combat, attack for 8. Josh will concede from there. Moving on to sideboards, Josh will be taking out a Witherbloom Command, Leovold, Emissary Tress, and 2 Orcish Bowmasters, bringing in 2 Pernicious Deed, a Flusterstorm, and a Veil of Summer. David will be taking out 2 Force of Negation and a Lorien Revealed, bringing in an Endurance and 2 Mystical Dispute. Opening hand for Josh is 2 Pernicious Deed, a Veil of Summer, 2 Brainstorm, a Force of Will, and an Island. Moving on to David, we have an opening hand of 2 Shardless Agent, a Mystical Dispute, Brazen Borrower, a Wasteland, Tropical Island, and a Misty Rainforest. On a mulligan down to 6, we'll be scrying the Brazen Borrower to the bottom. Josh will start us off by playing an island and passing the turn. David will untap and draw. He'll play a Misty Rainforest and pass. Josh will untap and draw. And start his turn off by casting a Brainstorm. That will resolve. He'll then play a Bayou and pass his turn. David will untap and draw. He'll play a Tropical Island and pass his turn. Josh will untap and draw. And pass turn. David will untap and draw. He'll play a Wasteland. David will then crack the Misty Rainforest down to 19. And get a Taiga. He'll then start off by casting a Shardless Agent with a Cascade trigger. In response to the Cascade trigger, Josh is going to cast a Veil of Summer. That will resolve. Cascade trigger resolves. David will hit a Crashing Footfalls and cast it. In response to the Crashing Footfalls, Josh will cast a Flusterstorm that will successfully counter the Footfalls. Charlotte's Agent will then resolve. David will then pass a turn from there. Josh will untap and draw. He'll play a Flooded Strand. And pass turn. David will untap and draw. He'll then move to combat and attack for 2 with the Charlotte's Agent. Second main phase, he'll play a Misty Rainforest and cast another Charlotte's Agent. Cast trigger. That will resolve. David will hit a Crashing Footfalls. David will move to cast the Crashing Footfalls. Josh will cast a Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm, targeting the Crashing Footfalls. In response to that, David's going to crack the Misty Rainforest. Get a Volcanic Island. David will cast a Mystical Dispute on the Force of Will. In response, Josh is going to crack the Flooded Strand. Getting a Savannah. Josh will pay the 3 for the Mystical Dispute. Force of Will will go through, countering the Crashing Footfalls. Moving on from there, David's going to evoke an Endurance, targeting Josh. That will resolve ETB. He'll have Josh shuffle his graveyard onto the bottom of his library. He'll pass turn from there. Josh will untap and draw. And start off with a Ponder. Josh will keep the cards on top and draw. He'll then play a Tropical Island and cast a Pernicious Steed. That will resolve. Josh will pass a turn. David will untap and draw. He'll go to combat, attack for 4. Second main, David's gonna activate the Wasteland, targeting the Savannah. And he'll pass a turn from there. Josh will untap and draw. Play a Tundra. And pass turn. David will untap and draw. Move to combat, attack for 4. In attacks, Josh is going to activate the Pernicious Steed for 3, killing both the Charlotte's Agents. Second main, David's going to cast another Charlotte's Agent. Cascade trigger on the stack. That will go through. Hitting another Crashing Footfalls. David will move to cast it. That will resolve. David will get 2 Rhinos. They will pass a turn. At David's end step, Josh is going to cast a Swords to Plowshares on one of the rhinos. That'll go through. Josh will untap and draw. He'll start off with a Brainstorm. Josh will play a Flooded Strand and pass turn. David will untap and draw. Play Wooded Foothills. Go to combat and attack for 6. David will pass turn from there. Josh will activate the Flooded Strand. Getting a Mystic Sanctuary. With that trigger, he'll target Swords to Plowshares to put on top of his library. That'll go through. Josh will then follow up by casting an Up the Beanstalk. That will resolve. ETB, Josh will draw a card. Josh will pass turn from there. Dave will untap, and at his upkeep, Josh will cast a Swords to Plowshares, targeting one of the rhinos. In response to that, David's going to cast a Force of Will, pitching a Fire Ice. Josh will reveal a Force of Negation and concede the game from there. Once again, be sure to like the video and subscribe, and thanks for watching.